Hi, my name is John Seguin, and I'm here to talk just a little bit about what the Vertex training series is all about, what you'll receive in your package, and how I differ from all the other classes, seminars, indicators, letters of direction. How do I differ? How am I better than those? So what I'd like to do first is maybe give you a little bit of my background and my approach. And then we'll get into what's going to be included and a little bit about Vertex, okay? First of all, I started as a runner in the Board of Trade in 1983. I took that as a summer job. I was on my way to become a high school teacher and a baseball coach, but took this job, and obviously I never left. It was exhilarating, it was scary, but it was just something that grabbed me, and of course I've been there for 27 years now in the markets. And never went back to teaching. Even though it is my passion, I have spent some time teaching. A lot of my clients would fly into Chicago, and we'd spend a weekend, and I would teach them some of my methods, and they became valued clients and customers thereafter, and even friends now. So after a couple of years of being a runner and a phone clerk, I became a broker, and it's a highly competitive environment down on the floor. You had to find a way to stand out, and back then everybody was doing their charts by hand. So we had bar charts and point and figure charts, candlestick charts for some, and some indicators, but we really weren't using computers then. So a lot of this stuff was done by hand, and everybody was using the same tools. Well, in about late 1985, I came across a charting tool called Market Profile. And I started charting that by hand, and after a couple months I went to one of the first classes held by Pete Stottlemyre, who was the inventor of Market Profile and also the author of Markets and Market Logic. And soon after that, but the second day in the class, I was hooked. And that was back in early 1986. So let's say I've been doing this for about 25 years. I've been using this same tool. Now, times have changed, but I've through research and usage, have found some of my own methods that I've added with this, and it's become a very valuable tool for me, especially for my short-term analysis. When I'm looking to day trade, or my customers, I write daily updates for a number of different commodities. I use daily market profiles in a lot of my analysis. And you don't necessarily have to have market profile. I will teach you the logic behind it, and that's more important than the tool itself. It's the logic on how you look at markets. And so over time, I took this tool and took it to another level, and came up with a program called Macrograph, which gives me a little bit longer term perspective and answers many of the questions that professional traders all over the world and clients have asked me throughout the years. So what I've done is I've broken down the questions, and there could be a dozen of them, but I broke it down into this acronym called Vertex. And Vertex really touches on all these questions. So I'm just going to go through Vertex and show you why it's important to know. Now, these are questions that I would be asked every single day, and often I'd be asked every hour. So let's start off. Vertex, the V in Vertex, what does that stand for? A trader needs to know what fair value is. That's value. Where are buyers and sellers coming together most often? What is fair? If we know what fair is, we know what the second letter of Vertex is, and that's E for energy or momentum. The definition of momentum is the movement away from fair value. So if we can read momentum, ideally we want to be able to ride momentum, ride trends. I think it's important to note that one of the great experiences about being on a trading floor is the information that we are allowed to see that really the rest of the world wasn't privy to. For instance, if J.P. Morgan, Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs were all buying, we would see those kind of orders coming into the pit, and you could see, but when you see brokers' hands facing this way, meaning they were buying, they want something, you would know that the market would move up as these buyers kept controlling the market. They buy, taking out all the sellers. More buyers, market moves higher. Now when they sell, when their hands are facing out, more sellers, market goes down. This was an incredible advantage that we had on the trading floor. That advantage is gone now. Most of the trading is done on screens. So we have to find a way to see what I used to see on the trading floor. How do we see that on a chart? And the first two series, and the first two classes in the Vertex training series, you're going to learn how to read daily price action. I'll teach you how to organize it and to be able to extract momentum reads. We're able often to be able to get 3 different momentum reads in just one day. And we're going to use that, like I said, we're going to try and ride trends as much as possible because that's where the big money's at. And that's what the big players do. They go after trends. Generally, guys on trading floors that what are called locals are just concerned about getting in and out quick, making a tick here or there or a dime here or there. They're not really concerned about the big trends. But we're going to be. That's one of the features in the Vertex series, is that we're going to learn how to tear apart a day, and then how does our day perspective fit in with a longer term outlook. So back to Vertex. So we talked about V, which is value. We talked about E, which is energy. R for risk. How much do I got to risk in a trade? When do I know I'm wrong? These are questions traders want to know. Hey, I'm long here. The market's moving down. Where am I wrong? Where does momentum change? That's how we define risk. Okay, and after risk we have a VER. Now we're going to T, which is timing. Is this market ripe to run? Ready to trend? Markets do 2 things. They run and they coil. They trend or they go through consolidation phases. So what phase are we in? Are we entering a trend? So that's one of the great things about, one of the great features about macrograph is that I'm able to use a dimension that not many people seem to follow. That is, when is a market wound so tight, like a balloon ready to pop? When is it wound tight and ripe to trend? Or when's it ready to coil? So now we're on the second E in Vertex, which is entry levels or support and resistance. Where's good trade location? Where do I get in? If I'm a buyer, where do I get out, or where do I sell? Where do I get short if I'm a seller? But that's another thing that's great about the macrograph program, that it really does help pinpoint support and resistance areas. And of course the X is exit. An exit is not just simply where do I get out of a trade, but I like to think of it as protect and project profit. So as the market's moving higher, how do I protect that profit? Trail a stop. How do I trail behind it to keep in that trend? Or if it's moving down, how do I trail a stop below it to keep in that trend? Or how far is the market likely to move? How can I project how far it's going to go? Every market has characteristics and traits. It's our job to know if we're trading gold, how much is that thing moving in a day, a week, a month, a quarter? These are important things. And how much time does it usually spend at price before it blasts off into a trend? So these are all things we're going to learn in the Vertex series, which will roughly take about 3 weeks, maybe 4, but I'm going to try and do it at 2 days a week at 45 minutes a day. And then we're going to do some Q&A afterwards. Okay, that's the first thing that's going to be included in your Vertex training series. But you're also going to get some 2 hours of one-on-one coaching with me. You will get a daily update, if you choose, of one of the updates that I send out to my clients. They're daily updates of many commodities, and even the equity indexes, Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ, and there's gold in there, and the treasury market, and the grains. So if you follow any of those, I'll be able to send you a daily update. You'll also get access to macrograph charts. Now, the charting program is not available to the public, but it should be soon, and you will be notified when that's ready. So all those things will be included in your package. Plus, a partner of mine who actually invented the idea of TraintoTrade, his name is Jim Brandolino. He's a fund manager. He's written a book. He's just about finished with it. And that's more on the psychological aspects. And TraintoTrade is essentially, if you're going to be a professional, you got to train like a professional athlete. And you want to be a trader, we're going to teach you how to train like a professional trader does, and what to watch out for, and get some clear signals. So these are all the things that that we're going to offer through this series. And so what I'd like you to do is I'm going to put a link on PowerTrade International that's going to have I guess you could call it our brochure that'll show some of the pictures and some of the things that Macrograph can do for you. Excuse me. And also by taking a look at that, we're going to leave you a link if you want to contact us and learn a little bit more about it. Someone from PowerTrade International or myself will give you a call. We'll discuss it and hopefully line up a class time for you to join us in a seminar. Those should be starting soon. Just keep an eye on the PowerTrade site and the Vertex training series, and you'll know when the series begins. So thank you. Hope to see you soon.